Hi guys, welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks for tuning in today. We're talking about Paul George and this interesting fan theory about him. We're also getting into some behind the scenes drama with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. There might be some trouble boiling over there, but before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. And I did not forget, it's Taco Tuesday. Actually, I got to be honest. The only reason I didn't forget is because Suleiman in the chat said Taco Tuesday. And I just happened to glance over and I was like, oh, damn, it's Taco Tuesday. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. But let me just officially say, my challenge that with my brother is accepted. I know Devin said my hair wasn't fuzzy yesterday, but this is fuzzy. You cannot tell me you don't see that. My fuzzy braids bet has now officially been fulfilled. Come on, Devin. Have my back on this.
I'm going to give you credit. I will give you credit. They're fuzzier than yesterday, but they're not Kawhi fuzzy. Not yet, at least.
Do you know what? I slept with nothing on my hair on a cotton pillowcase. And cotton pillowcase mess. Kawhi has to put in work to get his braids that fuzzy. There's no way that just naturally evolves like that. I don't know what that man is doing, but it is some side like I like the fuzzy look. How can I make this more fuzzy? It's a thought process. There's no way they just evolve like that. Sorry, Kawhi, but no, I don't believe you.
You know what I think he's probably doing is just like rubbing his head on a very coarse rug or something like that.
Right. Like his girl's coming in like, what you doing, baby? I'm getting my braids right. I'm rubbing my head on this Brillo pad.
I cannot even imagine if that's really what he does. It is kind of interesting because your hair to me still looks really, really beautiful. It looks great. And I know you say you slept on a cotton pillowcase. I sleep on a satin pillowcase because it definitely makes your hair just look a little bit smoother in the morning. And yeah, so I know all about that, but you still look great. So
thank you.
I don't know what Kawhi's doing over there. Not sure quite. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to get into the chat or into the news here, but I did see that Gary said he was picking up tacos already, and I was very curious what kind of tacos they were. But he's not answering. So Gary Turbo, please let us know what kind of tacos you're having, because for us, it's 9 a.m. I can't even imagine having tacos right now unless they were breakfast tacos, which I'm not having. So I want to know. Let's get into the news, though, okay? Let's talk about Paul George, because I feel like we're seeing an entirely different Paul George right now, and he is making some serious moves on the court, and he's doing it all without the help of his co-star. And I feel like there's no single game that better encapsulates everything great about Paul George than the one he just played against the Phoenix Suns on Monday. So less than a year ago, you guys all remember that Paul George became the laughingstock of the NBA when he just seemed to fall apart in the playoffs, in the bubble. There was that moment especially that stands out for a lot of people when he hit the side of the backboard in a Game 7. That's when the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets. And he cited mental health issues as the reason for his inability to really focus and put up, 100% in those games. But people obviously named him Pandemic P, and nobody could seem to forget it. But the Clippers entered the game on Monday on the other side of the 3-1 equation. They were one loss away from elimination, and Paul George really went for it, and he did so well. His stat sheet is unreal. 41 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, a shooting line that looks too perfect, 75, 50, 100, all while facing elimination on the road without the help of another superstar, Kawhi, with him. And actually, the final score of the game was 116-102. The Clippers walked away with the win. And DeMarcus Cousins actually spoke about Paul George and said that it's time that we give him his flowers. And maybe it is. Jackie, you even said that this postseason performance by Paul George has allowed him to redeem himself from what happened last year. But one fan actually has a theory about why Paul George is doing so well and really thriving right now. They tweeted, "This series has been a confirmation that the best version of Paul George is a Paul George who knows he's the best player on the team. That doesn't mean he and Kawhi can't work or that the team is better without Kawhi, but Paul George really seems to take a back seat when there's another the guy." This is an interesting take, and based on what we've been seeing out of Paul George, I actually feel like there's some truth to it. Jackie, what's your take on this? Do you think that this fan theory is accurate when it says Paul George really steps up to the plate when he knows there's nobody else to kind of carry the slack for him?
I mean, I think it's an interesting theory, and I definitely understand why it came about, because we know when Russell Westbrook was in Houston with James Harden suddenly took this back seat and he wouldn't really be as aggressive as we saw him be. So, and that was one of those things where I was like, okay, is that just because he's like ready to go? Is that because he knows he can do that? Like, you can just take a beat and not be as aggressive because you have this help. I get this theory. I get why people are saying this, because that's what the optics look like. It looks like he knows that's who he has to beat. That is a superstar quality, though, when you see a guy step up because they're out of somebody. You know what I mean? That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you get paid to do. I do think that for him, though, I really believe it's a mental recovery. I think that he was definitely going through something mentally. And I think because usually what I would expect from the Paul George that we saw last season is this mental pressure literally crush him. And he declines drastically. That's what I would expect from him, because he just, hearing what we say in the media and then going out there and playing badly. And then now we're going to top that off with, talking about how bad you play again. I think if he wasn't at a mental place where he was actually okay, then he wouldn't be able to take that and he would regress. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the post-up. And that his statement in the post-up is what made me think that when you can kind of address the elephant in the room and keep pushing, that's when you are in a good place mentally. When that elephant in the room is the only thing you can stare at, it's the only thing you can focus on, then you're not well, and then you're going to beat your own self up. It might be a combination of the two things, though. It might be a combination of the fact that, hey, I'm in a better mental place, and B, Kawhi's not here. And we struggled last season, and everybody made fun of us last season. I don't want that to happen. I'm in a good mental place. I can step up and I can move on. It's probably a combination of the two, but I don't think it's solely that he plays better by himself. I will say this, though. It might be a level of, okay, I have to do more than just lead by example. I have to lead vocally, because he is being more of an all-around player. And maybe it's just that when you expect Kawhi to be, because every team needs a leader. I mean, you can have a wingman, you can have a Robin, but every team needs a leader. So maybe he's just thriving in his leadership role. But I think, like that person said, it doesn't mean that the Kawhi situation can't work. But if it is Paul George and Kawhi, he needs to learn from this moment. And he needs to learn that he is the leader on the team, period. Kawhi is just the guy. And that's how it'll have to be going forward. But he's definitely stepping up into this role. And I was one of those people who gave Paul George a ton of flack. And I'm really, really, really proud of him. I'm really proud, because when you can overcome that, when you can hear all that, not only hear all that, but go back and watch the tape where you looked horrible and you come out looking like this, man, you gotta give that man his flowers, because that's a lot. That's a lot of mental pressure. That's a lot of pressure in the game. And he's coming out there, and y'all know steals is like my favorite stat. That is my favorite stat. And he got 3 of them in one game. Oh, no, we not going to do nothing but lift this man up and say, you doing the damn thing, Paul George. I still want the Clippers to lose, but you out there doing the damn thing, Paul George. You really are.
You're like, Clippers suck, but Paul George, I like you.
Yep.
Look, I don't blame you. It's hard to root for the Clippers. But yeah, I do think that it's important to acknowledge the work that he's probably done mentally to overcome whatever was getting in his way when he was in the bubble. But I also think that maybe he took a little too much comfort in knowing that he could share the weight with somebody like Kawhi. And now without Kawhi there with him, he is just the only guy in the spotlight, and he knows that if he doesn't put in 100% effort, it's not going to look good for the team. So I also do think it's a combination of both, but I think what we're seeing right now is that Paul George just definitely seems to do better when he isn't having to share the spotlight with somebody as popular and as well known as Kawhi. I think that because people love talking about Kawhi. He's such a weird guy. He's a great player. He's phenomenal on the court. And so there's a lot of stuff about him that makes him sort of the focal point of the Clippers. But in reality, we have to acknowledge Paul George and what he's been able to do. And yeah, he has received heavy criticism for postseason performances. But this, I think, shows us that he's just does better when there's nobody else there to kind of help him out, which is a very weird thing to say about basketball when it is such a team sport. It also could just be that the Clippers are really feeling the pressure and they don't want to miss out on this opportunity to take home the win for the Western Conference Finals. So do you feel that the Clippers as a whole are maybe just waking up and responding to the pressure that's being put on them?
Well, it's always going to be a fight or flight situation, right? Like you're either going to fight through what people are saying about you or you're just going to crumble underneath it. And I think, what we're seeing, there was one specific play where Chris Paul was guarding Paul George and Paul George just played it phenomenally and just got Chris off of him. And I'm seeing everyone on the Clippers step up. It is an interesting phenomenon to me. It still leads me back to what I have said time and time again. And I know you guys in the chat don't like when I say it, but the problem for the Clippers is Kawhi. And I think that now that he's out, this is what I'm seeing. Kawhi is the problem for whatever reason. I don't even think that him being the problem is necessarily his fault. I think that there is a level of expectation from him. Kawhi, you were the guy. You were the guy that we wanted here. Not only did we want you here, we did what we needed to get you here. We went out and bet the entire farm and got Paul George for you. So when we did all of this to get you, met all your demands to make sure you were happy here, we still need you to step up in that locker room and be the leader. And I still think that they're putting all that on Kawhi to be something that he is not. And I think that is the problem. So when you remove him from the equation, guys who are naturally leaders can step up and be who they're supposed to be. So now you have to decide, can you look at this moment and see this team for who they are right now and how they're succeeding without Kawhi? And can you make Kawhi fit into that instead of making all these guys try to fit with Kawhi? That's the problem in that locker room. I'm never going to back down from that. That is the problem in that locker room. You have to tell Kawhi he has to fit with what we are seeing right now and what's working. Don't try to make these guys fit with Kawhi because Kawhi don't even want that. He don't want to talk. He don't want to be the one to rally the troops. He just wants to go out there and play. Let that man go out there and play. But if you can't figure out a way to make him gel with them, you're going to fail again. Period. And it's not hating, Jeremiah. Your therapist, you need a new therapist. But it's not hating. It's just me simply telling you the truth about the situation. And that's just how it goes. Not everybody is a born leader. Kawhi is a born basketball player. There is a period at the end of that sentence. He is not born to lead. Ain't nobody following Kawhi nowhere. He is not going to motivate the troops. He's not going to do that. You need to make sure he knows his role and stop putting him in the forefront of everybody else. He makes sure he knows his role, and then that locker room and gel. But I'm telling you, Kawhi is the problem in that locker room. And the success that they're having right now, when everybody wrote them off, is proof of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one, Jackie. And I think that seeing Kawhi and hearing all of these rumors about him potentially looking at other options and moving to another team, it seems like we may see next season a Clippers team that's able to just thrive a little bit more easily than they have been with Kawhi no longer on the roster, if that is what's to come. And I know you and I are in agreement. We believe that Kawhi is making his exit and looking at other opportunities out there, which I think is great for him. But I do think that there's a lot of pressure on Kawhi to be the leader, to be the superstar, and that's just not in his personality. So we kind of have to stop trying to fit him into that box, because that's what's happening here. And I don't think he wants to be in that box. I think he just wants to play great basketball, and that's it. Let's move on. Let's talk about Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. So when Kristaps received that $50,000 fine during the Mavericks playoff series with the Clippers, because he went to the strip club, you guys all remember that. It was in the media for about a day, and then it disappeared. It was no longer talked about, and I think it's just because with the hustle and bustle of the playoffs happening, it was just easy to start focusing on something else that was going on. But somebody is still very bothered by it, and that's Luka Doncic. So according to Mike Fisher from Sports Illustrated, Luka really did not like the fact that Porzingis went to an LA strip club just as the Mavs were starting their playoff series with the Clippers. And I understand why Luka would be mad about that, because that was a dumb move. He was never going to get away with that. He's big, he's tall, and going to a strip club is a definite violation of the NBA's health and safety protocols. He's actually lucky that the NBA didn't end up suspending him for that move or making him quarantine, because that was a pretty big violation. But he did end up sort of redeeming himself. He delivered a big game after that. I think he had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in game 2, which helped Dallas take a 2-0 lead. So the Mavericks right now are really all in with Luka Doncic. You call him the baby goat. He's, a phenomenal player, and they're really wanting to build a roster that supports him. They're wanting talent that supports him, but there are some whispers around the league that say he actually might be a little bit more problematic than we realized. So Brian Windhorst revealed that he's actually kind of a difficult person to be around, and I think we've seen little hints of that throughout the seasons. He said, quote, "I don't know how many people are going to be excited to play with Luka. I think Luka is maybe a difficult person. He's a great player, but when you watch the Mavericks play, he's barking at the coach, he's barking at his teammates, he's barking at the officials, he's always barking about something. He can really be an irritable guy." And yeah, we've seen him kind of be up in arms when a call doesn't go his way, and he's had several kind of dramatic situations involving himself and his teammates, this Kristaps one included. So he does seem to be a little bit of a hothead, maybe is the word I would use to describe him. And it seems like he really holds his teammates to high standards, which is great. But when they kind of don't live up to those expectations, it appears to me that he gets kind of angry about it and maybe makes it so that it's sort of a hostile environment in the locker room. So let's go back to this relationship with Luka and Kristaps. Do you believe that it is really bad, or are these rumors making a bigger deal out of it than it really is?
I never believe it's as bad as people say it is. I mean, I'm sure there was a conversation, and like you said, Luka is pretty hot-headed, so it probably was a heated conversation. But, and I always go back to my boy, when everyone said that Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were never going to be able to repair their relationship, and then it was like a week later, they came out and they was like, we haven't even talked about this yet, and maybe that's what they were building off of, the fact that they hadn't talked. I never think it's as bad as people say it is, because I have 2 brothers, and men are different. They're built different. Men can have a full-on argument, damn near fight, and then the next day be like, "Yo, bro, you want to go have a beer?" Women hold grudges like that. Men don't really move like that. So I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. But I do think one of the things that I have seen in Luka is what is exactly what you said. It could be a long-term problem. It could be like, I'm just tired of constantly having to deal with Luka. And that's a little different than a one moment in time confrontation. Because if we're just arguing about me going to the strip club, that's a one-time argument. Yeah, you mad, I'm gonna cuss you out and cuss you out, and then we can get over it. But now if it's this, okay, not only are you mad at me about doing this, I'm still looking back at all the other times that you acted crazy with me. Now it's a culmination of things, and now it's a little bit different. And that is one thing that I've seen in Luka. He's like the polar opposite of Kawhi, where Kawhi doesn't say anything and doesn't lead at all. Luka sometimes takes it too far, because with your leadership, you also have to show how to behave in situations. And I am definitely one of those people, not a big ref fan. 90% of the time, they don't get it right. But you also know that they can give you a tech. You also know how you look, and you also know that you've got to be the guy that talks people off the ledge, not pointing people to where the ledge is and trying to get them to jump with you. That's not what you want to do. So he has to really, and I don't want to say not believe his own hype, but to a certain extent, yeah, he has to stop believing his own hype. I saw somebody in the chat said he's a baby goat that hasn't made it out the first round. Facts. You don't have the accolades to be out here acting like this. Can we see the potential in you? Of course. Has that potential come to fruition? Absolutely not. You're not there yet, my guy. We hope you get there. I'm definitely pulling for you to get there. but you need to put in the work to get there. You don't need to just assume that since the media follows you everywhere you go, and since you are the GOAT in Dallas, that you the GOAT in real life, because you're not. So you have to put in the work, and he's not done that yet. And so I understand why people are thinking, maybe he's a difficult guy to work with, because imagine if I'm a vet and I have put in the work and I know what I've done and I've accomplished more than Luka. And then I'm not coming to Dallas so this kid can get in my face and try. No, I'm not. I'm going to punch this kid in his face and I know that. So I'm not coming. I'm just not coming. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I get it. I think it might be true. Okay, so a Warriors fan that Jeremiah said that. So let me just go ahead. So Jeremiah was the one that said baby goat who hasn't gotten out the first round. Let me go ahead and give him his credit, because if we don't give his credit, that boy gonna be right back in therapy. So congratulations, Jeremiah.
I actually have something I have to say to Jeremiah, because I'm annoyed at him. He wrote in our chat and said, "So Devin, you want Kawhi to be a leader, but when Luka gets in his goofy ass teammate's ass and be a leader, you don't like it." There's a balance, Jeremiah. Yeah. It's not one extreme or the other, and that's what I'm trying to say. I also want to reiterate, I said that it's a good thing that Luka holds his teammates to high standards, but you can't be mad when people are not the same person or player that you are. It's the same thing with friendships or relationships. You can't expect everybody to be as good of a friend as you are. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to be able to find the balance. You have to hold your teammates to high standards, but you can't get angry and hot-headed and create tension on the team when they aren't able to fully live up to the expectations, or when they do things a little bit differently. I think that Luka needs to be careful, because he's only 22. He's super young, and if he's developing a reputation in the league as somebody who's difficult to work with, it's going to dissuade superstars from other teams from wanting to play with him. So I just think that it's all about kind of learning how to be a leader in the best way possible. And I'm not saying that Luka's completely failing, but the fact that we're talking about this right now, and that maybe there is a little bit of, aggravation between him and Kristaps, just shows that things might be getting a little bit out of hand for him. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Do you think that, what do you think is the best course of action for Luka to still kind of be in that leader role without having this reputation follow him? Is there any way to sort of salvage what's going on in Dallas right now?
I mean, he's young, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where somebody got to get in his behind, whether that's the coach, whether that's Mark Cuban. Somebody got to sit him down and be like, bruh, let me show you who you think you are versus who you actually are. Not saying that you can't, because you definitely need to believe your own hype a little bit. You got to believe that you're the best person on the court. But at the same time, this is a team sport, my guy. You can't do it by yourself. So you can't alienate those around you, and you can't suck the wind out of people around you, because now you're going to have to go out there and damn near do it by yourself, because nobody's really checking for you. And now you're putting yourself in a situation that when it is time for us to get good talent, they're not going to want to come here because of you. So then now you're going to be a detriment to your team on two fronts: who you get and who's already there. You can't do that. He's young. I still think he can be much better, and I still believe in him. I still think he can be great, but this is one of those learning things. This is a growing pain, and I think he can get past it, provided he has somebody that gets in his behind. He's clearly somebody who needs to get in his behind and just kind of make him look in the mirror and be like, no, you're not there yet. And if you want to get there, this is a step that you have to take to get there. You can't be this person. Now, I still don't want I don't want anyone to try to curtail his how he plays and his aggravation completely, because that's who he is. And we the first one. Well, most people have talked about how soft the NBA is. I don't want him to become soft. I want him to be right. Just touch your toe on too much, but don't ever do too much. Right now, you're doing too much.
Exactly. I think that's a great solution. And it's going to be hard to strike that balance for him, I think, and it'll probably take a couple more seasons until he actually gets there. I believe in Luka. I think that he can be a great leader. He's just young. He is super young. And I also think it's worth mentioning, he played pro basketball at 16 in Europe. I think he was in Spain, right? And that team over there was really, really good. So I think it's probably hard for him to now be in the NBA with the Mavericks. And Mavericks are obviously not bad, but they, keep not making it to the finals. And I think that that's probably frustrating for him. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on right now too.
I like what Doug said. Doug said he needs a CP3 type vet. And I agree with that because he needs somebody who is just has an amazing high basketball IQ who can point out some of the areas that he's lacking in his own personal game. Because I know how easy it is as a player to hear the media criticize you for the problems that you're having in the game and just blow it off, because a lot of them do that. But you do need that CP3 type guy that says, this is what you're not doing as far as your game. And this is what you shouldn't do as far as how you're going to lead this team. And I really think it once you're, especially when you're young like that, and you have that one vet that you can't do anything but respect, kind of tell you this is what you needs to be done. I think you adjust a little bit quicker when you have that. But right now, he thinks he's the end all be all for that team. A trade would fix it. And I know that's not what we want to talk about. But as soon as you think you the end all be all for a team and you get traded, oh, it's a totally different dude. It's a totally different dude. And if he doesn't want that to happen, then he needs to fall back a little bit.
Honestly, I think that the team is all in on him. I feel like there's no way that they're even considering a trade for him right now because they see that potential in him. But I do think what they should do is bring in somebody like Chris Paul. That's a great idea because that way they'd have the support of a really talented player on the roster, but also somebody that can put a young player like Luka in his
Luka, oh God.
I know, it's not good. To put somebody like him in his place and sort of teach him the ropes of what it means to truly be the type of leader that a team needs. But on that note, let's wrap up Need to Know News. Let's get into the post-up.
Yes, and let me say, Luka can never, ever play horrible now because if he plays horrible, we automatically have a nickname. Thanks to Devin, he will be Duke if he plays bad. So thank you, Devin. That's just going to live forever. And I think that is fantastic. But let's get into this first one because y'all know I cannot stand Pat Bev. He's just not my guy. But this right here is funny. So SportsCenter posted this and they said Patrick Beverley was given a flagrant one foul for the contact made on Chris Paul's jump shot. Beverley appeared to intimidate CP3 after he was called for the foul. I think that is what he was called for the foul for because the contact that was made with Chris Paul was a foul, but it definitely wasn't a flagrant foul. And I think it was the antics that happened after the foul that got Pat Bev the call. But take a look. This is hilarious to me.
Beverley laughing and
what is that?
Oh my God. He is such a troll.
He is. But this is definitely not, that's a foul, but that's not a flagrant. Just like Mark said, that's not but it's he didn't even do all that. He mocked him completely wrong. That's not even how he fell. Like, what is that? What is he doing? Why? I think the funniest part of this whole thing, though, is aside from mocking him, right after this, he walked up to him and said, way to sell it. So take a look at this and watch his lips. That's what he says to him. He goes, way to sell it. And Chris, and that's what we're talking about, right? That's that vet status that you want. If he'd have walked up to Luka and said, way to sell it, Luka would have been, but Chris is like, can I shoot with this free throw? Can I just have the ball? Like, he's not even tripping on anything Patrick Beverley is saying. I have one fan reaction to this one, and it just is what it is. I have one tweet from this. Go ahead and post it. It says, good. He created the contact, and then they called it a flagrant foul. The NBA is really terrible. I still think the flagrant came because of the mocking. And I think Pat Beverley deserved it. I just do because I don't like Pat Bev. So anytime he gets it, that's me being petty. I think he deserved it. Devin, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't think it was a flop. I've watched it a bunch of times. I feel like Pat Bev deserved it too, but that looked like it hurt for Chris Paul. I don't think he was selling anything. Yeah,
I mean, I think he had that same that flop looked similar to the one that Joel did that ended up hurting his back. And you remember that, like, when you oversell it, sometimes you get hurt. But I still like this whole moment in time, and I never like anything Patrick Beverley does. So I'm just gonna give him his credit. This made me laugh. Good job, Pat Bev, because I don't like you like that. But let's move on to this next one because another person that we've criticized on this show a lot. Wait, let me just get to it. Hold on, my screen went crazy. So this one. Again, we've talked about Paul George a lot. And we've criticized him. I think, am I one of the only people that criticized him and walked it back at the same time? Because I definitely have walked it back, and I think that we deserve, we should give him his flowers. And so this one is what he says when they asked him if he feels like he's being picked on. And this is why I think he is in a much better headspace, because he said, the reporter asked if he thinks he's being picked on. He says, I do. It's the honest truth. It's a fact. But I can't worry about that. It comes with the job, I guess. It is what it is. I still try to go and dominate, whether I'm shooting the ball well or not. I think that's a totally different answer than what we would have received out of Paul George, say, last season. And I think now he's just kind of living in that moment. And that's one of the things that Dame Dollar and even my boy Ice Tray does so well. All that negative energy, they kind of pull it in and they spit it back out to you in a dominant way. And I think Paul George is getting into that, which I mean, I don't know say he's getting into it because he's a vet, but I think whatever was troubling him mentally, he's overcome that. And I love this for him. I'm very happy for him in this moment. And fans agree with him. There was a lot of support that he was getting from fans. It's not just stars. He's one of the few players the media and NBA Twitter destroy for almost no reason. And then Glock Turner says, may sound crazy. He chose the Clippers over the Lakers in a huge way, chose to help Kawhi instead of helping the media's favorite athlete, Bron. So that's an interesting theory. Is that why the media hates on him? It's not. I mean, I hated on him because he just was playing terrible, but I'm also loving on him now. So then let's get to this next tweet. He says, my timeline is so relatively quiet when the Clippers are winning, and specifically George is balling. Only Clipper fans are posting. When they're behind and he's inefficient, everybody hops out of the clown car dancing and singing. And I got to admit, that's a fact. I don't really see anything about the Clippers on my timeline until they're losing. And then when they're losing, everybody got something to say. Everybody got fingers to point. That's because they're the little brother, though. But this guy says he brought it on himself. It's what happens when you give yourself a nickname, because he gave himself the nickname Playoff P. So either way, I'm glad that Paul George owned this and owned that, yes, it does bother him a little bit, but now he's got to live in it and push through it. That's the sign of mental growth. I'm very, very proud of this man. I just don't know how else to say it. Again, very proud of him, rooting for Paul George. Still want the Clippers to lose. But let's go on to this next one. Because this is another person that I've criticized a lot. And I'm really glad to see, I don't even know if I'm saying a different side of him, because I do feel like he's been consistent. I just don't think that he has reacted to things the way that I would want him to react and the way a lot of people would want him to react. But check out his mindset right now and what that means. And then let's have a conversation. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Take a look.
I'm airball shots, game 7. I'm airball back-to-back, free throws, Oklahoma. I'm being down here. The only way is up now. The only way is up. I'm just aching it all. I've done it all, man. I've been down coast. I've been crossed over. I've been all over the place.
I think that's kind of a vet's mentality, Somebody broke my ankles. I've missed 8 in a row. I did an air ball, in game 7. Everything has happened to me that could possibly happen to me. I've got nothing else that can happen. All I can do now is battle through. I think that's a great mentality to have. I like the way he said it this time versus the first time he said it. It was like, he sounded like, I don't care if we win. I don't care if we lose. This version of how he said it, I actually really, really like it. And of course, Twitter had some thoughts about it, and I actually like this narrative. Imagine hating this dude, and I like this one on the bottom. Imagine hating on any player. We might criticize, and that's what Devin and I be trying to tell you. We might criticize a person's game, but we don't really hate on anybody. And then I think I have one more tweet. This is one of the best players in the league and one of the most grounded too. He's truthful to himself, and he knows that he can still be much better. He's the guy that will never settle, and I can imagine him rising to the level that no one has ever seen. Future GOAT. Possibly. I mean, I could definitely see that, especially from that moment in time. And like I said, when we thought that he was just kind of like looked all defeated, he went out there and did the damn thing. So I'm very, very, very proud of him as well. I think this is a beautiful thing that him owning that and saying, hey, you know what? Where else can I go? It can only go up from here. And I'm just trying to go up. I like it. Devin, I know we've criticized him for some things that he said in the past, and this kind of mimics something that he said before, but the energy is different. And I think that's what makes it different for me.
The energy is different, and I appreciate that Giannis has acknowledged the moments where he's like fallen short or where he's, had a flub or whatever. But I also do think that this sort of self-deprecating humor and attitude, it's nice and humble and I respect it. But I also really want to see Giannis just get a little bit more arrogant. And saying you can only go up from here. Yes, that's true. It's important. I get frustrated sometimes when I see players who come out there and they're just like, I can do no wrong. I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes that's fun to watch because it's like, oh, you're so cocky. Like, let's see if you can actually live up to it. But it also can get really, really old. But then on the flip side, we have somebody like Giannis who does really take that sort of backseat approach, and he doesn't ever really gas himself up. And I think that as much as I appreciate this self-deprecating moment, I want to see Giannis just get a little cocky. I want to see him say something to the media or on Instagram that's just like so outrageously full of himself that we have no choice but to be like, okay, yes, Giannis, let's see it. Like, let's prove it to us then, So I don't hate this moment, but I don't love it either.
Yeah, no, I get that because that's one of the things we've seen from the greats is a level of cockiness. So I definitely appreciate that. So let's move on to this next one, a person who will never have a moment in time to be cocky. This one is interesting. Now, let me just digress for a second. I don't know if you're a 76ers fan in the chat. If you are, just let me know. But first off, let me just show you this tweet, because this means nothing to me per se, because first of all, that shirt looked like a knockoff. It don't even look like a regular shirt. So, but they have Ben Simmons' shirt on clearance. And then this fan, another Twitter user kind of chimes in and says, okay, is the writing on the wall? Because the summer that Paul George went to the Clippers, his OKC shirt was in the clearance section a week before it happened. This might be a sign. I don't know, because I don't know anybody that's like eagerly awaiting Ben Simmons, especially because his high school coach came out yesterday, I believe it was, and said that he doesn't know what's going on with Ben Simmons because the Ben Simmons that he had in high school would take shot after shot after shot, no matter what, and had a 3-point shot. He doesn't know what's going on. So again, that leads me back to what I was saying before. This man is regressing. And I think that is that was a knockoff shirt anyway, so I don't care that it's in clearance, but you might see a lot more of Ben Simmons jerseys and shirt in clearance because he's regressing. Tyree said that shirt had a bacon neck from the 99-cent part. What?
What is a bacon neck?
You remember when Michael Jordan did that commercial about your collars being tight because otherwise it's all like crumpled up like bacon? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's
wow. Okay, yeah.
All right, we got to take a Oh God, that was great. What does that mean? That was so cute. But yes, I do think it's more of Ben Simmons regressing more than anything else. And I don't know. A trade, I don't even know who would be eager to take Ben Simmons. I just don't know. I don't know. It's not Ben Simmons hate. It's the fact that the man is factually regressing. That's not hate. That's statistical fact. And if I'm a coach, if I'm a GM, if I'm president of basketball operations, do I take Ben Simmons on a maybe he'll get better? That's a no for me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But all right, y'all, let's get into this next one because I've always gotten the Ball brothers mixed up as the age and whatnot. So the final Ball brother is the middle, and I always get that mixed up. So it's Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo Ball, and LaMelo Ball. So LiAngelo is still not in the league, and that's kind of weird because he's the middle. So we've got the oldest in Lonzo and the youngest in LaMelo, and LiAngelo is still not out here, and he's still not in the league. So y'all watch this video, okay? And when you watch this video, Devin, I'm going to immediately come to you before I get the tweets because I want you to tell me the first thing you notice in this video and see if everybody is going to throw the same shade. So take a look.
I've been hearing a lot of people like, oh, what's he doing? Like, did he stop playing? Is he still trying to make the league? I said, all that, yeah. I've been hooping my hardest every time. My mental is real strong when it comes to the game because it's not like, I don't feel like, oh, I got to prove something. Like, I love the game so much. I really play for fun. If someone told me that I wasn't going to make the NBA tomorrow, I'll still probably work out. I'll still go hoop. That's just what I love doing. Like, so I feel like when the call do come, I'm ready. Like, I already feel like I'm ready. I'm really just trying to get there. Now, if I play with my brothers, then they really in trouble, and that's a fact.
Okay, first of all, I love LiAngelo. I do. And I'm eagerly awaiting him to get in the league just because I think he's going to be fun to watch. But Devin, did you notice anything in particular about this video? You guys in the chat as well.
The one thing, I was muted for a second. The one thing that I noticed, and maybe this is not what you're referring to, but he does push-ups the way I do push-ups. Like, I can't go all the way down to the ground. That's like me doing a push-up, and I have no upper arm strength. This guy has giant guns. Why is he only going halfway down?
God. All right, Devin, you exactly where Twitter was at. Because I went to Twitter to see the comments because I thought I was gonna see a bunch of ladies like, oh, he's attractive, but that's not. I didn't see one tweet like that. It says those push-ups weak. And then this next person, it was like this whole thing, you know, clowning his trainer. Man, who's his trainer got him doing them push-ups like that? And he's like, I thought I was the only one who noticed him doing half-ass push-ups. Like the whole thread was about his push-ups. And Devin was right there with him. I just didn't know if now it's confirmed. When Devin is like, what's going on with them push-ups? You know it's a problem.
Because here's the thing. I am really working hard to build up my own arm strength. And even still, when I do push-ups, I really can only get about halfway down. But you expect to see a guy that looks like LiAngelo going all the way down, chest, nose to the floor. Why not? Like that, that's such a stark contrast to what you would expect out of somebody that looks like that. I really wish I knew. This is so confusing to me.
Oh my God. Kevin Lang said those Long Beach push-ups. Is that how they do Long Beach push-ups? I'm everybody I know from Long Beach. I need to see how y'all do push-ups. I need the answers. And I am so weak that all of y'all, not just Twitter, Devin and everybody in the chat was like, yeah, what's up with them push-ups? Y'all don't know nothing what that man just said. It's like, you see them weak ass push-ups? Y'all have me so weak. And I love it. I love y'all for that. That was fantastic. Okay, you made my day. All right, now let's get into some mess because you know Devin likes the messy. So this is gonna be one of these things because I'm telling you, this is one of those unnecessary posts. It's one of those posts that it's more telling that you posted it rather than it happened. You're telling on yourself and it doesn't look like you think it looks. So y'all look, Bol Bol's girlfriend posted this on her, I believe it was her Instagram. So you can see it right there. I have a couple of problems with this. Number one, it says girlfriend of NBA player Bol Bol rejected $5,000 from him to prove she's not a gold digger. Couple problems. Number one, scroll up, Heffa. Did he give you like $6,000 before that you took? This is this one part of this little thread, and I can't see it and I don't trust you. Number two, I'm gonna let Twitter tell you the rest because Twitter kind of co-signed on everything that I was saying, especially this first one. She said, and if she was a regular girl without plastic surgery, would he look at her too? It goes both ways, y'all. He's not even ugly. He maybe could use a haircut. He probably makes her laugh too. That's the best kind of man. So I'm with the whole plastic. Like, what does she look like before? Give me the before picture and let me see if they're more equal, physically speaking. Now let's go to this next one. And this guy was like, okay, but no. Men, we already know what we look like. He says difference is that men accept reality and can say they're not easy on the eyes, they're out of shape, or can call a spade a spade. When women justify it as he probably makes her laugh, he knows who he is. While she thinks she did something, turning down $5,000. Women have low accountability. I don't want to say women as a whole, but this one does. And then here was the thing. And I was like, see, and this lady nailed it. She said, if she's smart, she'll get pregnant. I don't like the smart part, but lady, if you have this whole post showing me today, what's today? On June 29th, that you turned down $5,000, and anywhere in the month of July or August, I find out you pregnant, please know that we know that you wasn't doing nothing turning down that $5,000. You was trying to get that anchor, baby, and I'm not giving you no credit for turning down $5,000. But Devin, I know you like this mess. What do you think about all of this?
I think she should have taken the money.
Damn, Devin.
If I had a man Apple paying me $5,000 and he was my boyfriend, I would take it. Hell yeah. This guy makes $2 million a year, so he can afford it. I think it's very weird of her to go out on social media and prove that she's not a gold digger by rejecting a one-time payment. But also, like, nobody, like, I don't care. Like, if you are dating him for his money, like, fine, there's a million girls in the world that would do the same thing with these NBA players. That's why there are so many babies, NBA babies, that come out of it, exactly like what that woman said. So it doesn't need to be this big thing that you prove, you know? Take the money, enjoy it, have fun with Bol Bol. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and just enjoy your life.
I think she's lying. I think she's definitely a gold digger. Like I said, show me the whole thread. Just put your little screen video on and scroll back. Let me see that 3,000, 6,000 that he gave you beforehand, and now you want credit for turning down 5. I don't buy it at all. I don't buy it at all.
I just feel bad for the way this paints Bol Bol. Like, oh, Bol Bol could never get a hot girl. Bol Bol is only dating a gold digger. Like that, I feel bad for him for that. But whatever is working for them is working for them. He's willing to give her $5,000. She's willing to reject it for whatever reason, probably because she is getting a lot more money from him in other scenarios. So I don't know. This whole thing is weird. She should have taken it.
I don't know. But she should have taken it, because what she don't know is the next girl got it. She ain't the only one. I mean, y'all think that he's unattractive, but basketball money make you look different. I don't care what y'all, so she didn't get it. Somebody else did. And one of them gonna end up pregnant. Now I'm gonna laugh if all of a sudden next month or so we hear about somebody else being pregnant and it's not her, and she gonna be mad too. But these chicks for everybody. Chris Brown wrote a whole song about it. Y'all better get it together and know what you're working with. But let's move on to this next one. Because I had the wrong idea this entire time. I have been trying to get on the floor as a sports reporter for the Lakers for years. I just want to be on the floor and interview LeBron before he leaves. That's my one goal in life. I think I found another way, and I think it pays very, very well. Take a look at this, you guys. First of all, who was looking this up? Who got time to be finding out stuff like this? But no, give me the first one. I think that's the third asset, but let me see. So look, just so you know, this is how much this position that I'm about to show you makes. Given they only work 41 days a year, 41 home games, that's over $19.50 per game. The floor cleaners make $80,000 a year, and some teams they make $100,000 a year. Those guys that drive the little floor cleaners make this much. Didn't we ask this a little while ago, Devin? How much these floor cleaners were making?
Oh yes, because there's the one guy that was like dancing.
Yeah, and I was like, how much does he make? Mm-hmm. Turns out they make about $80,000 a year. That's average. Some teams, you're obviously going to make more if they get to the playoffs and things of that nature. But some floor cleaners are making $100,000 a year. So now my question is, do I really want to get on the floor as a sports reporter? Or do I just want that little mop thingy? Devin?
Yeah, floor cleaner. That's the way to go.
Right? I had no idea. And I just thought there was like, low key, I thought it was an intern position. I didn't think they were really making much money. I thought they were just getting to go to the games and maybe some food and stuff like that. $80,000? I see you. Okay, I am going to go manifest it. You're right. Lord, give me this floor cleaning job. And you know how proud I would say that, Jackie, what you do for a living? I am an NBA floor cleaner. What you do? Like, I would be so excited. Let me big bag, take little bag. Let's see how much money we got. I definitely would. But yes, love that. Let's all go out and try to get a floor cleaning job. $80,000 a year. Let's do it. Now, I know we hate these gender reveals because we've shown you a lot of bad ones. Like a lot of bad ones. This is a 2-minute gender reveal. Y'all know I usually don't let you watch the whole thing because they be so lame, but this is the best, hands down, the best gender reveal I've ever seen. Somebody want us to talk WWE. I present to you the WWE gender reveal. Take a look.
This is awesome. I know. This match can be won by pinfall or submission. Take it away, Ralph. All right, I want a good clean match. Team girl, good clean match. Team boy. All right, good clean match. Nothing dirty here. Here we go. Let's get it on. Go girl! Yeah! Come on! Yes, sir! Oh! One, two! Like, One, two. T-Boy's gonna win. T-Boy's gonna win. One, two, three.
That was the best, hands down, the best gender reveal I've ever seen. For them to go all out like that, plan it all out just to show him he's a girl dad in the most epic way. I love this. I thought this was the best one I've ever seen. If you got to plan a gender reveal, plan it like that. But this next one, though, we're going to go from adults that I really like to adults that I cannot stand. I don't know. This is happening at a children's tournament, some sort of children's basketball game. And it's a full-on fight. I do want you to watch the guy in the white shirt, though, because with the glasses, because he's funny, because he is trying to break this whole thing up. But this is what this tweet says. This is a children's basketball tournament, and some adults in the stands are fighting. So while you're watching this fight, watch the guy in the white, because he's trying to do some sort of, break it up mathematically. Like, if I put my hand here, I can get them to move over here. Meanwhile, in the background, the game is still going on with the kids. And you got adults acting like this. This is so embarrassing. Take a look at this.
Hey, they bullshit, man. Hey, chill out. You better get out of here, ho. Come over here playing with me. I ain't saying shit. I ain't saying shit. You a weak asshole. You a weak asshole. You a weak asshole. You man, what a bitch. You a weak asshole. You a weak asshole. Ain't never scared.
The game is literally going on. All right, Leo. The game is literally going on in the background. You can hear the bells whistling. The kids are still playing. The tournament director at the very end comes up and says, "What are you guys doing? I will eject you and your whole squad from this game." So, like, these kids and their teammates could potentially get ejected because the parents are in there acting like this, and you spitting on somebody. And we just on this is one of the most embarrassing things and I would be, if I was a child, I would feel so sad and loath if my mom was out there acting like this. And I'm trying to play a game. You're not even watching me play. You out here fighting with some chick about what? It's never that serious. It's a kid's game. This is so embarrassing. This should be what we're not going to do, because what we're not going to do is act a fool like this. This is the only funny thing is them big old women in San Antonio. I guess it was in San Antonio. They was big. That's not the point. That's funny. That's not the point. You guys need to do better. You guys can't have your kids. Can you imagine how that kid must feel? He's dribbling down the court and he turns back and he sees his mom and his auntie or whoever fighting. Y'all need to do better. This was so embarrassing, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But that's a little mini what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is act a complete fool with our kids in the stand. And now we're going to move on to what we're not going to do is not acknowledge once again Tom Brady is the GOAT. Because you guys remember this clip. Let me just show you this clip really quick in case you forgot that Tom Brady was like, okay, y'all trying to pass on me? Let me show you this clip really quick.
One of the teams, and they weren't interested at the very end. I was thinking, you're sticking with that mother. Anything.
So now we all had a theory. Derek Carr was the front runner. I said it was probably Mitch Trubisky that he was calling the MFer. But now apparently between writers, Pro Football Talk, and some fans, they have narrowed it down and they believe that it is Derek Carr. So according to Pro Football Talk, the mystery team is the Vegas Raiders, because they said, quote, in league circles, there's one team that hasn't been deeply thrust into the conversation, but it perhaps should be. The Raiders, multiple with deep connections to the NFL matrix, have reached out So they reached out to Tom Brady, and they were close to a deal at the very, very end. But according to insider sources with the Raiders, what Tom Brady wanted as far as like to get him there, they were like, nah, we don't want that. So at the last minute, they pulled out. So everyone thinks that the Raiders are it. So Tom Brady also says it's a good thing, because he also said in that clip, which we couldn't show you, he says, when I look back on it, I say there's no effing way. I wouldn't have went to that team, but they said they didn't want me. I know what that means. I know what that feels like, and I'm gonna F you because of that. So based on this quote, they think they figured it out. So I think I have one tweet. There's this guy that shows, he says this one, he says, good thread here. Tom Brady opening up quite a bit based on the sticking with that guy, full quote. I got to think it's the Raiders who bailed on him at the last minute. They were on the Bucs schedule. That game, Tom Brady went 33 for 45 for 369 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he added 1 rushing touchdown. I think it's the rushing touchdown for me, because Tom Brady don't run. He don't like to do he throw, but he don't like no extra physical activities in that. Now, here's the thing. The Raiders really should be kicking themselves if it is them, because Carr has only led the Raiders to the postseason once, and that was in 2016 when he went 12-4. Now, in his defense, they were booted out in the wild card game. I believe it was against the Texans, but he had a broken leg that going into that playoff, so he couldn't really help them in the playoffs. That's in his defense of that 2016 time. But since then, he went 6-9, 4-12, 7-9, and last season he was 8-8. 8-8. The Raiders have got to be kicking. Well, no, because they got Gruden, so this is just par for this course. But what we're not going to do is point and laugh. We're not going to not point and laugh at the Raiders, because if they passed up on Tom Brady just because they didn't want to give him something extra, he's Tom freaking Brady. How you not? Ooh, Raiders, I know you looking at your 8-8 season right now, feeling real stupid after watching the Buccaneers go to the Super Bowl. So good luck, though. Devin, do you think it's the Raiders? And if it's the Raiders, first of all, how do you stay with Derek Carr over Tom Brady? But I mean, okay.
I think a lot of the signs are pointing to yes in this situation, but I will say any team that passed up on Tom Brady is probably kicking themselves right now. Like anybody that would look at Tom Brady and decide, now we're going in a different direction.
Right.
They've got to be upset, because there's no denying that Tom Brady is the guy. He's the GOAT of the NFL, and you want him on your team regardless of what you would need to give in return. So right. I don't know. To me, it's definitely seeming like it could be the Raiders here and Derek Carr that he's talking about. But, sucks to suck, I guess. That's all I have to say on that.
Evelyn said, no, Derek Carr is our quarterback. Yes, he is your 8-8 quarterback. Congratulations, friend.
All right, you guys. Well, on that note, let's wrap up our show for the day. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have Challenge Accepted coming out at 1 p.m. tomorrow as well, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great Taco Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.